Ready to Glow here, and welcome back to my channel. I am super excited to be doing this Indian wedding guest makeup tutorial in partnership with Hudson's Bay and their amazing beauty experts. So a little while back I posted a picture on my Instagram asking you guys what kind of skills and techniques that you wanted to improve on or you felt overwhelmed with, and a lot of you guys came back with like wanting to know how to do eyeshadow or eyeliner or highlight and contour. So the beauty experts at Hudson's Bay heard you guys' concerns and sent me a whole bunch of products to allow me to teach you guys how to improve on these skills and techniques. In this makeup tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do a really quick and easy look if you were to be attending an Indian wedding. We all know that Indian weddings happen so early in the morning. So this is going to teach you guys how to do this quick makeup look to make you look glam but not, you know, spend too much time on it. I know this looks like a long tutorial for something that's supposed to be like quick and easy, but I'm going to be teaching you guys in depth how to do eyeshadow and how to do eyeliner and how to highlight and contour. And I'm going to be using all these amazing products that you can find at Hudson's Bay in store and online. So let's get started. Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious that I have my base done, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I used to create my base. For my foundation, I used the Ordinary Colors Coverage Foundation. This one's the high coverage one, and this is in the color 3.0Y. Now this is a foundation I feel like I don't talk about enough for some reason, but it is so amazing. It gives you the best coverage, and on top of that they have such a great shade range with so many different undertones too. And the best part about it all is that it's super affordable. This foundation is under $10. Like, it's so good. You guys have to grab it. And just FYI, I think I mentioned this before already, but every product that I talk about in this video is available at Hudson's Bay. Next, the concealer that I used was the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. I absolutely love this concealer. It's one of my favorites. And the reason I like it so much is it gives great coverage, it doesn't feel heavy, and it blends out like a dream. I also find that it doesn't crease as much as other concealers do too. So yeah, definitely would recommend this. Finally, I set my entire face with the MAC Studio Fix powder, and this is in the color NC42, and I just loved the coverage that this gave me. I put it on pretty lightly just because I didn't want my face to look too cakey, and it just did the job perfectly. Okay, so now it's time for the good stuff. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do some beautiful eye makeup that's simple, easy, and quick. To start off, I'm going to be using the Venus Excel palette from Lancome. Look how absolutely stunning these colors are. I feel like I have to give you guys a close-up because this camera just doesn't do justice as to how beautiful this palette is. I'm going to start off with the color Idolized, and I'm going to apply this right into my crease and then blend it slightly upwards, up towards my brow bone but not completely into my brow bone. This is just to create a transition shade. Now for this I'm using a nice fluffy blending brush. And you want to make sure that the color you use for your transition shade isn't too light but isn't too dark either. You also want to make sure that the transition shade is matte because you want to create depth in this area, and if you do something sparkly it'll end up reflecting and it won't create that depth that you need. A lot of you guys have also asked me what brushes I use, and I use a lot of the Sigma brushes. I just find the quality of the brushes are amazing and they just blend out my eyeshadow really well. I'm using one right now, and obviously Hudson's Bay sells Sigma brushes, so definitely check them out. And they also come in like really good sets too, so that's another thing that you can take into consideration. Then using the color Burnt Gold, I'm gonna go in and darken up my crease. And with this color, you don't want to take it up too much into your brow bone area. You want to focus it really in the crease. And it's okay if it's not as blended out because that's what the transition color is for. That's why you have that transition color, so it does that gradual fade. And you're also going to take this color and put it in your outer V area. Finally, I'm going to take the color Ethereal and apply this all over my lid. I'm just going to use my middle finger to apply it. This is normally how I apply the color all over my lids. I really like this color because it has like a soft shimmer to it, but it's nothing too in your face, which is perfect for the morning, and it's this really nice soft pink. When you're applying this eyeshadow, you just want to pack it on and like press and sweep. That's how you'll get the most pigment out of the eyeshadow. And you also kind of want to overlay it on the outer corner where you smoked out that brown, just so it blends in nicely. And then if things get messy, you can just go in with your blending brush again and transition things in a little bit better. And then for the final step for the top of my eyes, I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush again and go in with a little bit of ethereal and apply this in my brow bone area and transition it down into your transition color. And this is how you get that really nice gradual fade from your crease up into your brow bone. If you want more of a brow highlight, you can go with an even lighter color. That's why I didn't use ethereal too heavily, just because it's like a little bit dark for a brow bone highlight, but it still kind of works. It's like borderline. So that's why I used it, but I really like it. I'm not a huge fan of like a really like in your face highlight on the brow bone, so that's why I like a bit of a darker color. If you are, then I would suggest using something a little bit lighter, like blank canvas would be a good color. So the top of my eyes are done, and before I move into my eyeliner, I just wanted to say a little bit about pressure and how much pressure you should be using when you are blending out your eyeshadow. So if you want the eyeshadow to look a little bit lighter, more blended, don't use as much pressure, because when you use more pressure, the shadows come out darker and more pigmented. So in places like your brow bone area, use a lighter amount of pressure. Don't go in so heavy-handed. But in places like your crease, you can use more pressure because you want those areas to be a little bit darker. Okay, so now time for the fun part. I think this is the part that everyone hates to do, liquid eyeliner. So today I'm going to be using the Burberry Effortless liquid liner in jet black. I have to show you guys the applicator on this. Like, look how precise it is. I absolutely love it. So liquid liner obviously is super tricky to do. It takes a lot of practice. So I'm going to share some tips and tricks that I've learned over the years that have made liquid liner easier for me to do. Now the first thing that you want to take into consideration is using different parts of the brush. You want to use the pointier parts for places that are like you want a thinner line, like especially the wing or the inner corner of your eye. And then the fatter part of the brush, you want to use like more in the center where the line is going to be thicker. And again, pressure is a huge thing with eyeliner. So if you want like a thinner line, make sure you apply less pressure. And if you want a thicker line, you want to apply more pressure. So in areas like the middle of your eye, you want to be using the fatter part of your brush and applying more pressure. And in areas like your wing or your inner corner, you want to be using the tip of the brush and apply less pressure. So I like to start in the middle of my eye towards the end of my eye. Like, this is where I like to start drawing my line. I'm using the tip of the brush just to start off a bit slow and create like a base line. And then I'm going to go in thicker. Sorry, it's so hard to concentrate on using eyeliner and talking at the same time. I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. Okay, so I drew a line from here to here, as you guys can see. So this is probably the easiest part of the eyeliner because it's the thickest part, probably the part where you need like the least amount of control. And that's why I like to start here, is because especially when you first go in with eyeliner, you don't always have the most control, or you don't always understand how much pressure you're applying. So at least this gives you some practice applying different amounts of pressure. You can start off light and you can kind of build on it. It's okay if it gets a little bit thicker. Okay, so now going into the wing, depending on your eye shape, you either want, if your eyes are a little bit more straight, you want the eyeliner, the wing to go out a little bit more straight. If you go up, then it'll like start to go into your crease and like into this like little like dent kind of thing, and the liner will look wonky. So you really need to take into consideration what type of eye shape you have. My eye shape is a little bit more almond, and they do go up a little bit more, so I can pull off a little bit more of like a higher wing, if that makes sense. And so for the wing, what I do is I'll start to lightly draw a line, and I do it in like little strokes, and I use the tip of the brush. And I don't go out too high, I just like end it right about there. And then I'll take that tip and I'll connect it down to my base. And for this middle part, you can kind of just use the thicker part of your brush to fill it in. And then you want to go in and use the tip of your brush to pull out that wing and fill it in. Now if you're really struggling with this, what I would suggest is using your hand, resting it on your face and resting your wrist on top of your hand and going in. You can even use it to slightly stretch out your eyes a little bit more, so you get a little bit more, you know, in case if there's wrinkles, like you get that smoother line. And by you resting your like wrist on top of your hand, it gives you more control. Like your hand's not kind of floating in the air and like easy to move around. At least this way it's staying still. And you always want to take your eyeliner in sections. Like don't try to just draw a straight line either, because when you try to draw a straight line you have less control. If you do it in sections, at least you can do little by little and have more control over it, and you're less likely to make a mistake. When you're just drawing one straight line, the chances of it going wonky is more likely. Okay, so now that you have your wing and you've used the tip to pull out the wing and you've used the thick part to kind of create this middle line here, you're going to use the tip of the brush again and fill in your inner corner and connect it to the middle. And again, in this part, you're going to want to be using lighter pressure. Alright, so for those of you who wanted to know how to do wing liner, this is how you create a perfect wing. So if you've made any mistakes with your wing, like say if you made the wing too fat on the ends or something like that, you can always go in with a concealer. I'm going to be using my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer and just a really small brush, and you can just go ahead and clean up the edges to get that perfect sharp line. I would even suggest using an angle brush for this. The MAC angle brushes are so phenomenal and so precise. Okay, so I just went ahead and quickly aligned my waterline with a black liner and my upper like lash line as well. Just with any black liner, it doesn't matter, like any black liner will do. And then I am gonna go in with the color Passion from this palette and smoke it out into my lower lash line. Now, this is something that I absolutely love to do with my eyeshadow, is just add a pop of color into my lash line and keep the top pretty neutral, just because it makes things fun but not too over the top. So I'm just taking a really small pencil brush and smoking this into my waterline area. So since this tutorial is supposed to be like super easy and quick, and especially for like those early mornings where you don't want to try that hard, I'm not going to be putting on any fake lashes. What I'm going to be doing is using a really good mascara. So I'm going to be using the Monsieur Big Mascara from Lancome, and I really hope I did that little French accent right, which I think I did, because you know I took French up until grade 9, so I'm pretty sure I killed it. But anyways, this is all I'm going to be using for my lashes in this video, especially because it's like early morning. You want to look fresh and awake, especially if you're just like a person attending a wedding. You don't want to look too overdone, I find. So just throwing on some mascara in the morning is perfect instead of putting on false lashes and things like that, especially because false lashes take forever to put on. So with my mascara, I like to blink when I put on my mascara, just so it can go from the bottom all the way to the top. And I'm just gonna put on maybe 1 or 2 coats of this. So I'm just gonna show you guys a close-up of how well this mascara works. Like, mind you, my lashes are really long, but it's doing a really good job at giving me the length and the volume that I want without getting clumpy. And I think that's really hard to find in a mascara, that you can't always find a mascara that'll give you length and volume without being clumpy. Now I'm going to teach you guys some really basic highlight and contour, and this is how I like to do it. And I only keep my face to highlight and contour. I don't really like to add blush too much, that's just me, but you can definitely add blush to the end of this. So for this I'm going to be using my Extra Dimension Skin Finish from MAC in Oh Darling. This highlighter, guys, is absolutely beautiful. I feel like everyone needs this highlighter in their life. So it's this very pretty like gold color. Like, it's so blinding that like even my camera is like just like reflecting off of it. I absolutely love this, especially for brown skin tones. It just gives this perfect glow. It has this really nice warmth to it, which our skin carries really well. So yeah, I'm gonna go in with a highlighting brush from Sigma, and I'm going to apply this right on my cheekbones right here. And you don't want to go like up right here under your eye. You just want to keep it right on, like if you smile, the highest part of your cheekbone. So right there. It looks so creepy doing this. Look at that highlight. Oh my god, it is so beautiful. And like I barely even put any on. It's stunning. I also like to take the highlighter and apply it to the bridge of my nose, in the middle of my forehead. And I also like to take it into this V as well, just because when the sun hits you here, it gives you this beautiful glow. And then finally I add it around my upper lip right here where this little dip is. I can't remember what it's called. But I add some right there just to make my lips look a little bit bigger once I put lip liner and stuff like that on it. If you really want to amp up your glow, what you can do is take your MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus setting spray and spray a little bit onto your brush and dip that into your highlighter, and it'll give you that extra glow. You see that? Oh, compared to that, yeah, it's like insane. Next, I'm going to contour. I'm going to use my Bobbi Brown bronzing powder. That is like a mouthful, so many B's in there. Yeah, so the Bobbi Brown bronzing powder in the color Dark. And I'm just going to take a large kind of fluffier angle brush, and you want to apply your contour right where your cheeks suck in. So if you make a fishy face, right in this little area here, and you'll see where it kind of dips in. Even if you touch your face, it's like right under your cheekbone. You want to apply it to the part that dips in, and apply the contour right there. Now with contour, you want your contour to be darker right around here in your ear area, and then lighter as you get closer to your mouth. And you want to follow this kind of line here, like from the top of your ear into like right where your cheekbone is at its highest point, like this the apple of your cheek part. Like that's kind of where you want it to taper off. You don't want to take it all the way into your mouth, just because then it'll look like you have this like really weird dark shadow around here. Again, you want to use the whole pressure thing. You want to apply more pressure here because this is the part where you want it to be darker. And I like to do like soft circular motions. I don't like to go too much with the pressure here because you still want it to blend out and look nice. And then as you get to the kind of middle section, I guess, or like towards the end, you want to go really light. And I use mostly the tip of like that pointed part, like right here, to blend it out. And then you want to lightly blend out downwards, but like not too much. You just want to make sure that everything looks transitioned. So you also want to lightly blend upwards too. And that's why I like to do my highlight first and then my bronzer, because sometimes when you put the highlight on top, it just looks like this streak of like shiny. So if you put the bronzer on top of your highlighter and blend it up a little bit, the transition is a lot more smoother and it doesn't look so much like highlighter and then bronzer. So I use any leftover product on my brush to contour my nose slightly. I don't go too heavy with the contour. I just kind of line the edges a little bit and then fluff it out at the bottom. And then I take, again, the leftover and apply it to the sides of my forehead, like the temple areas, just because I have a really small forehead, so I don't contour too much on my forehead. Otherwise, I will have no forehead. Finally, I'm gonna finish off my look using the MAC Cork lip liner and the lipstick in Velvet Teddy. This is like one of my favorite combos ever. It's such a great nude for brown girls. Now, one really good trick with lip liner is I like to outline my entire lip, and then I like to fill in the entire lip with the lip liner. And this is because it'll help your lipstick last all day. If your lipstick wears off, at least you have lip liner underneath that kind of still gives you some coverage. Especially when you're eating Indian food, that's super important because we all know Indian food is really greasy and that lipstick just goes everywhere. So this will help kind of prevent it. Look how absolutely perfect this nude combination is for a brown skin tone. It is literally one of my favorites. Okay, so we pretty much have my entire face done. My final step that I always do no matter what is I set my face with the MAC Fix Plus setting spray. I'm pretty generous with it because I love the way it refreshes my skin. I feel like after I put all my makeup on, my skin feels really dry and like heavy, and when I put this on, it refreshes my face, it gives some moisture to it, and it helps my makeup last all day. So I threw in all my jewelry, and this is the final look. Do I look like I'm ready to attend a wedding or what? Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you guys learned all the tips and tricks that you guys had asked me about. I'm so happy to have partnered with Hudson's Bay to bring you this tutorial, and as mentioned before, all the products that I used can be found at Hudson's Bay, and they have some amazing beauty experts that can really help you pick out the right products for you, because I know a lot of the stuff that I showed you were meant for brown, warm skin tones. So if that's not your type of skin tone or whatever, there's so many amazing beauty experts that can help you pick out something that's right for you, that's right for your skin, that's right for your style. So don't hesitate to ask them. That's all from me today though. If you guys did like this tutorial, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!